How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be doing an updated plate carrier setup for 2026. But before I dive into it, I just wanted to mention, if my voice sounds different than usual, that's because I'm pretty sick at the moment. But I thought I'd still try to get a video out for you guys, so just bear with me there. Without further ado, let's begin. I've gone over my plate carrier a couple times in the past, however, setup's changed quite a bit since I did it last. So I thought I'd go over it again, updated for the new year, show you what's changed and what hasn't and why I've got it set up the way I do. And let's dive into the setup. So the plate carrier itself is a JPC 2.0 from Crye Precision. Had this thing for over 2 years now, and it's by far my favorite plate carrier I've ever run. In the past, I've run the AVS in the past, both with and without the harness. The AVS was great. However, I was running pretty much this setup on the AVS, give or take a couple things, which this isn't a very heavy loadout, which on the AVS with the harness was kind of overkill. Just a lot of bulk for not a lot of gain. So I took the harness out, and the AVS without the harness is pretty much just the worst JPC. So I sold that, bought a JPC 2.0, and I love this thing. As I said, I've had it for a couple years now, and it does everything I need it to, holds everything, very easy to shoulder rifle thanks to the Hypalon straps here at the top. Don't really add any bulk to your shoulder, which is great because at the end of the day, rifle is probably the most important thing you got. Without your rifle, you're down to your pistol, which you're not going to be doing a lot with your pistol. So, great being able to shoulder your rifle with these thin straps. This is a medium JPC. Just a little side note, if you're in the market for a plate carrier, don't size the plate carrier to you, size it to your plates. So if you wear a large shirt, don't buy a large plate carrier. Size your plates. So I wear medium plates, so I'm going to buy a medium plate carrier. I'm not going to have medium plates and wear a large shirt, so I buy a large. That's just not how it works. So just keep that in mind if you're in the market for a plate carrier. If the plate carriers are sized, some of them are one size fits all, which I'd steer clear of those. Moving into the setup itself, we're going to start here at the shoulder straps. Got my relocation cable just tucked through here with a strip of 1-wrap, keeping it retained so it's not popping out and becoming a snag hazard. I've got the basic Crye shoulder pads on here. Don't got a super heavy loadout, so I don't need a bunch of padding, so these are more than fine. Down in this admin pouch, I put a piece of Velcro just so it's not adhered all the way, so I'm not just ripping this thing open all the time and just struggling with it. This just makes it easier to open and access my Riding the Rain. Just keep a Riding the Rain in here. Humans, we forget things, so writing it down, drawing pictures, taking notes is a sure way to prevent us forgetting what's important. So like having a Riding the Rain, I think everybody should have one. It doesn't necessarily have to be this big of one. They make smaller ones, which you could just throw in any possible space. I just like having a big one because my handwriting's pretty bad. Moving down, got an American flag here on the front. I could take this off, throw a Juggernaut case on here if I need to run ATAC or something like that, but most of the time, just run American flag and IR. Easy identification both in day and night. And gotta represent. Going over to the left, got a push to talk. My old push to talk broke, so I bought a new one. First thing I do with my push to talks, take the alligator clip off. Not a fan of alligator clips. They pop off really easily and are absurdly bulky. So I use a hair tie. It's pretty much just shock cord. And I don't have to deal with like tying a knot or anything. Holds this great, keeps it snug, low profile, and it's not going to snap like a rubber band. So this is a great way to retain and push the talk. I would recommend it. Over on the right side here, I've got a pair of med shears just tucked down behind the Velcro flap. Great for cutting anything from somebody's pants to an MRE. I'd recommend having med shears somewhere, whether that be in your IFAC or smack dab on the front like I do. Whatever works best for you. Moving down, got the triple Crye flap. Just the bungee one, but I've took the bungees off and put MP2 inserts in here. The MP2s are great. They're really positive retention, but you don't have to deal with a Velcro flap or a bungee. You could just grab your mag and put it in your rifle. So they're very easy, and I'm a huge fan of them. That's a new addition since last time, and I can't be more happy with my purchase. Really like these things so far. Haven't had a bunch of experience using them yet, so maybe in the future I'll find out that I don't like them. But so far, really like them. They do add a little bit of bulk just because of the nature of them. But I think that little bit of bulk you gain is worth the retention on these. If I flip this plate bag upside down and shake it, those stay retained in there. So they're really great at holding your magazines, and they're not going to fall out. Huge fan of those. I prefer these over the S-Tac Kiwis. I used to run an S-Tac Kiwi in here. These just hold my mags better, I've noticed. On my belt, I like running the Kiwi, but just on my plate carrier, I think I like the Haley Strategic MP2s. Going over to my left here, got a Crye Airlight radio pouch. Thing's great. I love this radio pouch. Just because you're able to run it on either side, and you can adjust the height. I like to run my radio pretty high, just so it's not interfering with anything on my belt. So that just keeps it out of the way. I really like, you could adjust the height of this thing, make it ride super low or super high. So it's a great pouch. I just run the Velcro closure on here. That just makes it a little bit more streamlined than the buckle. And I like having my radio on the front on my plate bag. Just makes it very easy for me to reach. I don't have to reach around to my back, take my plate carrier off, or ask a buddy to fiddle with it for me. Directly up front, and it's not very uncomfortable for me. I like it up here. I also like running it internal instead of external like on the Cumberbund, just so I could still take the Cumberbund on and off. This just keeps it attached to the plate bag. I've got a relocation cable just so my antenna isn't just picking my nose for me. So I run that relocation cable up underneath my push-to-talk through this channel of MOLLE, and then that channel of MOLLE leads into this admin pocket. So it goes through the admin pocket up onto the shoulder pad and down to my rear plate bag. So just an easy way to keep it out of the way so it's not sagging on anything. Now, moving down, we've got the Onward Research SIM pouch. This is a great pouch. I used to run an external admin pouch on my Cumberbund. However, this I vastly prefer. It doesn't take up any MOLLE real estate, and it just takes up a space that otherwise would be unused. It's really small, so if I'm going up a steep hill or squatting down, it's not affecting my movement at all. And it's not super floppy or anything, simply because one, it's small, and two, I attached it to the plate pocket instead of the placard area, which just keeps it closer to the body, so it's got less room to flop around. And that allows me to still use this button snap on the Crye placard. So super low profile, super small, and it still allows me to carry a tourniquet, just a fake cat, keep my real cats out of the sun, just because that degrades them, keeps them alive longer. 2 webbing straps here so I could throw chem lights if I need to. And then inside this pouch, I run a pair of rubber gloves, just so if I have to touch anything gross or disgusting, don't have to get my hands or my mechanics gloves all gross. Keep a roll of electrical tape, just good for mending things together, keeping things retained. I put a little pull tab on here, so with gloves I could still peel it open and I'm not sitting there picking at it. 2 Band-Aids. I strongly recommend keeping a couple pairs of Band-Aids where you could reach them easily, just so you're not stuck having to go all the way into your IFAK for a couple band-aids, I would recommend just keeping a couple. So if I scrape my hand on a bush, I don't have to reach around, pull out my IFAK, take stuff out to get to my band-aids, and then put it back. Just keep them. You could even just put them in like the shoulder pocket of your uniform. Going down in here, some batteries. I've got 4 AA's, 2 123s, and 1 of the discs for like a RMR. I keep a change of batteries for everything, 1 spare change. I'd recommend doing that because your batteries are going to die eventually. So recommend just keeping a spare set so you can change them and you're not asking a buddy for some batteries. Last thing I got in here is a SSE bag, just in case I gotta carry something that I wasn't planning on having to carry. Could throw it in here and then sling it over my shoulder. Then I'm not having to carry it in my hands or throw it in a dump pouch. This is just a nice, easy way to carry stuff. And I've also got it kind of use the drawstring to draw it down as small as I can so it's not super bulky. Moving around to the right side cummerbund, got a magazine pouch. I am right hand dominant. This is one thing that's changed since last time. I used to have my radio on my right, magazine on my left, which my thought process was things that are going to help me fight are more important than my radio, which I still believe. However, the radio was impeding my means of fighting because it was catching the stock when I was trying to shoulder it. So by putting it on my left, solves that problem completely. This magazine is a little harder to reach with my support hand. However, I've got 3 in the front, 1 on my belt, the 1 in the gun. So plenty of ammo that I could reach super easily. And my thought process with this pouch here is, say I use this magazine, I can, when there's a quell in the fight or something, could draw this out and throw it over in there and restock it. So that's my thought process there. Just got airsoft mags in here right now. This is just the Crye double 5.56 pouch. I love this pouch. Had it for a long time, almost as long as the plate carrier, and it's my favorite pouch. You could do a bunch of stuff with it. Carry 2 mags. You could cram 3 mags in here if you need to. Smoke grenade, I've done that before. Or if I need to run dual radios, I could take the magazine out here, put the bungee adapter, and run dual comms. So you could do a bunch of stuff with this pouch. It's very scalable and pretty low profile if you're just running 1 magazine. So huge fan of that pouch. Now we're gonna move around to the rear plate bag. That's all I've got on my cummerbund is that 1 pouch. Try to keep my cummerbund pretty slick, especially on my right side, just so it's not impeding the draw of my sidearm. On the back here, got the Crye, or this is the TMC replica of the Crye zip-on panel 1.0. Reason why I run this instead of a real Crye is the real Crye 1.0 panels are super rare and super expensive, and I don't want to spend the price of a plate carrier on a zip-on panel. And 2, Crye just doesn't make the 1.0 panels anymore, which is why they're so rare. Not sure why they stopped making the 1.0s, because in my opinion they're far better than the 2.0s, because all the 2.0s have that horizontal magazine pouch at the bottom, which makes them ride super low below the plate bag, whereas the 1.0s just hug the plate bag perfectly and work great. This TMC one, it's official multi-cam and everything, and it's held up really well. So just because it's a replica doesn't mean it's gonna suck. I think this thing is really good quality and on par with a lot of other top tactical gear brands. So I would recommend this if you're in the market for one of these panels. In here I've just got some replica flashbangs at the moment, just to kind of fill the pocket. You could throw flashbangs, 40 mics, pistol mags, granola bars, whatever it may be, you could throw in these pockets. Some people mod these and turn them into 2 single cell pockets instead of 3 cells. So you could do that too. Get 2 pretty big admin pockets up there if you want. Back behind here, you've got the sleeve, which I could run a camelback down in here. You should have some form of hydration on your carrier. I run the straw over my shoulder. Just an easy way to carry hydration. Bladders do pop, however, I still like carrying them just because they're far more low profile than were I to carry a large Nalgene or an ice flask. I have thought of buying an ice flask. I might try one of those out eventually. Down below here, you've got a admin pocket or GP pocket. In here, I've just got a pair of goggles and 550 cord. 550 cord is great for just retaining things, tying things together, making rope. Just an easy way to carry stuff, and it's super light. Got a huge chunk of this thing. Had this thing forever. Down below there, retained via shock cord, I've just got an American flag. This is a black and white one, just so it's not as prominent. Just kind of keeps it a little bit more concealed and gives me an American flag to carry. How I've got this attached is just, there's 2 columns of MOLLE at the bottom of the plate bag, or of the back panel, that I just ran some shock cord through. Allows me to carry an American flag, which I like carrying one of those. And you can see, got another piece of one wrap retaining my relocation cable there, which that about covers everything on the plate carrier itself. As I said at the beginning, it's a pretty minimalist setup here. Not a whole lot going on, which is kind of the purpose of the JPC, is to be a low profile as possible plate carrier. They're intended to be streamlined. If you run a bunch of stuff on a JPC, they are going to degrade the shoulder straps pretty fast. It's not going to be the most comfortable, just because of the nature of these things was to be a jumpable plate carrier and to be low profile. So if you're planning on running a low profile plate carrier, couldn't recommend the JPC enough. I love this thing. I hope you all enjoyed this updated go over of my plate carrier setup. Before I go, I want to say thank you to my most recent public subscriber, who is MyNess84. I appreciate you subscribing, and I appreciate every single one of you for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed, and as always, have a great rest of your day.